Hey everyone, welcome back to She Burbs Podcast. I am your host, Brooke Wright.
Hey everyone, welcome back to She Burbs Podcast. Today's guest is Mary Elizabeth Jackson. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for being a guest again.
I need to be back. It's been a while though.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. And we're talking about your newest release, Cheers from Heaven. So what inspired this book?
Well, okay, this book has a long journey, but we started back in 2018, my co-writer and we wanted to write something that was more than just a story, but what are some of the issues that kids are dealing with? And it's interesting because, even though the journey started in 2018 and then now it's launching, it's like these, I guess, all the issues that are in the book and that we address are exacerbated right now, because of the pandemic and because everybody's going through so much and there's so much emotion and mental health struggles that everybody's going through. And so we really wanted to take a story and make it more than a story, that it teaches along the way and that it helps children to learn how to be more responsible for their decisions, learn be held accountable, seek that course correction, be mindful of that in their lives and teach them, you help them start with better language or more positive language and being a better friend, accepting others and their differences. That's becoming, and all the stuff that I'm doing right now, those are becoming, everywhere I turn, it seems like those are becoming more of words that we're hearing more frequently, I would say. I've started doing some mental health awareness expos with a licensed prevention therapist and another author. And actually, her book is called ADHD and Me. So it's about her journey. And so we have one coming up on the 20th of November, actually. And so the back of the book has got 12 applications in it, and they can be done for individual children, for groups, and for classrooms, and then for whole schools. So, you can write for entertainment and you can write for entertainment and education. And we wanted to do both of those things, and so rarely have I met somebody who was not bullied growing up at some point, a teacher or a friend, a family member, somebody at school, So because of that, this really affects so many people, but it's a different kind of story. It's about kids who bully, but then they go on this, they seek redemption and they end up confessing to the parents of the child they bullied, to seek forgiveness. And then, and along the journey of growth, because he leaves them, the child who they bullied, he passed away from cancer, leukemia. So we come into the story about 6 months after he passed away, where they start one by one, this group of friends start to begin to feel guilty about what they did. So their teacher suggests that because they told the teacher what was going on. Two of the girls did, Julia and Lily, and she suggests they go to the parents and confess what they did. And so they did go. And there's something that he left behind for these students that sends them on a journey of growth and just growing in ways they never imagined, and a little bit of an adventure. And in the end, they end up forgiving themselves and kind of teaching their friends and their whole school how to be better kids, how to be a better school, how to be better friends, accepting others, differences, and that being kind is cool. So I'm just really, really proud of this work. A lot of heart and soul in this. It's a passion that I have, and so I'm I feel very blessed to be a part of it. And so Thornton Klein and I are, asking businesses and organizations to partner with us and getting the word out and sharing this book and getting it into libraries and schools and homeschools and churches, kids everywhere.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So is it for all age groups?
Well, it's 8, 9 up to about 14, but then it depends on where a child's reading level is and where their intellectual level is and their understanding comprehension of things. But I have parents who are reading the book and then giving me feedback on it. So we had a book signing last weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend before. And this guy was a senior in high school, and he came in and he bought the book, and so he's 17, and he talked to me about how he's been bullied. And, so I hope this book can bring some kind of comfort for him, in knowing that there are things that a child can do. It's not, kids don't have to have the only choice of being a bully or being bullied. They have other choices,
Right.
and we got to teach them that, hey, you have choices here. And everyone wants to feel a sense of power and control, right? Nobody wants to feel out of control, And so, and sometimes we do have to surrender. But if we can give kids some tools that make them feel more empowered, like having choices, it's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's always with you. Choices are always with you, right? And there's always a solution to something. And I mean, I know suicide rate is up, and we've got to help these kids. We have dealt with it in my family. I've had a relative who passed away not too long ago because of this. And if we can start out, no matter what their age is, with some tools and some information and some things that help empower them, we can help change generations of kids.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I feel like your book can also help some adults, not bully too, because I feel like it comes from the parents as well. Like the parents bully the kids go to school and bully the kids. So I feel like it goes down from the parents to the child to other children. Like I feel like this book can relate to them too in some way.
Well, part of it. So, we don't want to just teach the child. We have like these awareness expos that we're doing, our events, the purpose is for families and children, because we have to teach the parents also. It's just like, if your child has a diagnosis of some sort, even if it's a medical diagnosis, if you take your kid to the doctor, it turns out your kid has strep. Maybe you know nothing about strep, right? So the doctor educate you so you can take care of your child, so that your child gets better. It's the same thing with all of this, right? So if we can teach parents some coping skills, and we can teach kids some coping skills and how to self-regulate and how to read their emotions better, their emotional state of, okay, so, because how kids, I mean, their emotions are like this, and 1 minute they're the next minute they're this way, and the entire world feels like it's absolutely coming to an end. If we help them to regulate some of that and know, okay, the world's not ending. I'm not the only person who feels this way. I will get past this and be okay. That gives some feeling of power and empowerment of it in and of itself,
Yeah, definitely. So, how did you choose the personalities for your characters? Like, how did that come along?
No, I love that question. Really, you're the first person who's asked that. I didn't things, but no, I'm so glad you're asking. So when we started this, this was 2018. So my kids were younger, and so my middle daughter, she did the covers for the book and the inside illustrations. We had talked to her and her friends, to get some feedback. And so there's the character based off her. There's the character based off of her friend, close friend. And so it's based off of children that I knew, children that I don't, because there are 5 main characters in the story, students. Jose he was nonverbal as a child, so he's very quiet. And Drew, the boy that passed away, was high functioning ASD. He was very, very talented, but he always had to have a fidget toy or something in his hands, to help keep him calm. And then Julia, who's one of the main characters, she's an empath. So I tried to kind of pull in some different things for, these kids. They struggle with parents who are really hard on them, and nothing's ever, so they're always working so hard, to be perfect in what they're doing, and overachieving. And you've got, one of them that comes from a broken home. And, so I tried to pull in lots of different things, even from my own life experience, and just raising my kids and then being around other kids and knowing the personalities of children, and things that they struggle with. So we wanted to bring in, different ethnicities, different lives, different challenges, and try to bring all that in, because when you go to school, that's what you find, right?
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really true. So what was the most surprising thing you discovered while writing your book?
Wow, that's another. Because you have to think about this, so that's a good. These are good questions. Well, I guess what surprised me was how connected I am to this story, how passionate I am, how it started out as a story and then has turned into so much more. So, like, the potential I see for this book is more than just writing a book and putting it out there and it'll be on a shelf somewhere, because everybody writes for different reasons, And so I think the purpose of this just grew as the project grew. And, it's been through 2 publishers. So we're with Tuscany Bay Books now. And, Jim and Richard, are just full believers and supporters of this project. And I say project because there is curriculum that's going to come from the book. There's already stuff I've started writing up. I've actually had a global nonprofit ask me to write up some curriculum for them for their particular organization based off the principles of the book. So it's into it's taking a life on its own. So I guess maybe that's kind of a surprise too, because you start out with a project or even just a story and you really don't know where it's going to go. And some people just write for entertainment. Some people write memoirs for family and friends to have. And then others just write, and then they just keep writing and writing and just keep producing and producing. But this is a little bit more than that. I mean, it's just more than that for me in a different way, because it's personal. Everyone who writes, we all have it's sort of a birthing process.
Wow. Like when I was on your website, I listened to your 2 videos you had, and that's why I was so excited to talk about this, because I was like, as a kid, this hits me a lot. Like I've been pushed down the steps, like kicked down the steps by boys. So yeah, people bully, and I was like, wow, this is a great book. Like I can't wait to ask her questions about it. Like this is amazing. So are you going to you say you was going to set up organizations, like nonprofit organizations? You're going to help them?
Well, we're trying to partner with them for to get this book to reach children everywhere. So I've got there's some organizations here where I live who are supporting the book, and on their website and in their listed with materials that they have for sale. Just suggested readings for families. So things like that are very helpful. I would love to get together with some organizations and put some care packages together for kids for this holiday season that are like health and well-being packages, some kind of care package,
That's nice.
So things they can have over the holidays while they're home, reading materials. I am a big fan of writing, and not just to produce stories and things like that, but writing for health and well-being, because it is a great tool to have.
It really is. Like journaling and stuff, like journaling, get your feelings out through a book. Yeah, that does help a lot. So have you ever thought about doing like any public speaking about bullying, like going to any schools and speaking?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on that right now. I have just been in conversation with one of the universities here about this, and going in and talking to their education department, only about autism and special needs and things like that, but about bullying, about writing about it, about reaching kids and helping empower them. So yeah, I mean, that is something I'm working on right now, because I would love to be booked for a long time talking about this subject because I'm very passionate about it. So if anybody out there wants to, hire
Me, I want to help.
yeah, absolutely. We'll Zoom. So Thornton and I will Zoom in,
Yeah. So, what was your hardest scene to write in the book?
It's interesting because someone who we have become friends, and she is she's an editor and she's a publisher and she's a writer and she also she shares press releases, she does reviews and everything. She gave me some super great feedback. And when you're writing, sometimes you can't see all the other possibilities in a scene sometimes because you're so focused on something. And so she gave me a couple of suggestions and opened the door for, changing some other things. But it was like, oh yeah, I wish I would have thought about it. It's really great. Okay, I'm going to go back and add that in, So I would say making sure that there were certain points that I wanted to cover in the book and making sure that those were in there and how to insert them in different areas. I think that was probably the most challenging for me.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. I thought you was gonna say, because reading your book, like reading about your book, like it didn't have any like suicide or any harmful, like it didn't have any of that. It was just more of them focusing on becoming better people, like bettering themselves. So that's what I like. That's what I like hearing. Because usually with bullying books, you hear like the negative side, like the people commit suicide, people are, harsh and stuff. I've never heard a bullying book from the point of view that you all wrote. So that's
good. That's really because
yeah.
There's a lot of things that are saturated out there. So you've got to you hope to put something out that's going to have some kind of a hook or it's going to catch people's attention or it's going to they're going to go, hey, I really want to read that. One of the things I'm working on is eventually I want to do a documentary that kids and where they're at in mental health right now. Where do they, so I've started that process and getting that set up and getting that ready to start going. And I think that we need to hear from them. We need to hear from kids. What is it they need right now? What would be helpful for them? But giving them tools so that they, like what I was talking about, choices, the bully or not to be the bully, but also to know suicide is it's not your only choice.
Right.
And you shouldn't even, kids like to be dramatic, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I have kids, I know, right? Both kids, we know how that drama goes. When they hear it and they see it from other kids, sometimes it's being said because other kids are saying it. It doesn't mean they really mean it, but the kids who are considering it need to understand they have choices. That have to be their choice.
Yeah. I think that they don't realize they have choices. They can make better decisions. They can get out of the situation that they're in. They just don't think they can. So, yeah.
And that's very important. And the other point that I think is really super important, this is one I focus on when I'm talking about all this, is that we have to figure out in life, no matter what our age is, what is our truth, not the world's truth, not what a teacher has said or a friend who's jealous or just mean.
Yeah.
A parent or a family member, what is your truth? What is your love? What are your passions? And that's what you need to focus on. Even if you're doing the journey by yourself and you're not surrounded by, 20 people rooting you on, because you're not the mean girl or the mean guy or, whatever. What is your truth? And that's what you have to hold on to. Because, I mean, you probably have done this. I have done this. Walked away from something, put it on the back shelf, gave up the dream because of something somebody said to me.
Yeah, I have done that. I have.
Yeah, I think all of us probably have at some point, unless we're just super duper, powerful. But I think all of us have, especially when we're younger, and we're very insecure about ourselves. Our confidence levels are not there yet enough to know whether we are good enough to do something,
Yeah.
So that's another thing that is important to teach to kids, that you have to decide what is your truth about what you're doing, what you believe in, what you love, what you want. You know, there are kids who have dreams, you know, their parent maybe wants them to be a doctor or a lawyer or go into healthcare or something, but they want to be an artist, you know, and parents disagree with that. Well, you know, they really, if that's where their passion and love is, you know, even they need to figure out a way they can make money from it.
Right, right.
You know,
That's true. That's true.
have that. So, you know, I've got a musician and I've got an artist, and mommy will support you. You have potential. Otherwise, I tell you, honey, just go do it as a hobby. Okay. Right? I'm gonna tell you this out of love, but I mean, you know, I am saying this, but they need to follow their passions. We all do, and things that we love, but they also have to get their education because they need something to be able to fall back on. And it's not because they're not good enough, but the world is so saturated. What can you come up with that's going to set you apart from other people? You know,
exactly. I want to thank you so much, Mary, for coming on my podcast today and chatting with me about your newest release.
Thank you. Here, I'm going to show the cover real quick.
Oh yeah. I want to. Can you hold it up a little bit so I can see?
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Oh, that's a cute cover. Wow.
So these are the 5 students, and then the some that are coming down is the child who passed away. So
that's cute. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, it's very sweet. I love it. So Amazon, you could go to my website, maryejackson.com as well. You can find all my books there. And it will take you also the shows that I do, Writers Corner Live TV and Special TV. And yeah, please get a copy and donate it to somebody. You know, if you want to partner with me, you know, message me, go to my website with me about it. So
yeah. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right. Thank you too. Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, I want to thank you all so much for listening to my interview with Mary E Jackson. So I have linked her website within my website. So if you go to my website, it'll be on my podcast and you can just find Mary Elizabeth Jackson on there, and it'll have her website on there. It'll have all the platforms that the interview was on as well, and you can just check out her newest release and any of the other books she's written. My favorite one is Poohlicious. But I hope y'all have a great day and make great choices. Bye.